All right, so you're prepping for a data protection officer interview.
Yeah,
Talk about a career on the rise these days, huh?
absolutely.
We've got your RoleCatcher Intel package right here.
Uh-huh.
Career guide, the whole interview playbook, even some AI tricks up our sleeve.
Oh, very nice.
Consider this deep dive your crash course
Ah,
in DPO brilliance.
I love it.
So what are your initial thoughts when you hear data protection officer?
I think it's fascinating how this is evolving, you know?
Okay.
It's not just about GDPR compliance anymore.
Extra.
It's like you're the guardian of information in an age where AI and machine learning are
Yeah.
changing all the rules of the game.
AI machine learning, that's a whole other can of worms. We'll have to do another deep dive on that one.
Sure.
So we're not just talking about ticking boxes here.
No.
This is
Yeah.
about being a strategic thinker.
Absolutely. And that's where RoleCatcher's career guide, I think, really shines.
Okay.
It lays out the skills you need. I mean, think part detective, part diplomat, part like tech whiz.
Wow.
You're crafting policies, running audits, handling complaints, even investigating data breaches.
Okay, so multiple hats, high stakes.
Yeah.
No pressure, right?
Right.
This brings us to our first batch of interview questions.
All right, let's do it.
Let's start with, I think, a classic one.
Okay.
Why DPO?
Yeah.
The interview guide really emphasizes genuine passion here.
For sure. I mean, it's about more than just reciting a job description.
Yeah.
You need to show a deep commitment to ethical data handling.
Yeah.
So think about like what sparked your interest.
Okay.
Think bigger picture. Maybe you're concerned about the rise of AI.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you've seen firsthand how fragile online privacy can be.
Right. Connected to your personal story.
Yeah,
That's what makes you memorable.
exactly.
Speaking of memorable, the guide says about 75% of interviews hinge on those tricky scenario questions.
Oh, yeah.
So let's fire one off.
All right,
You ready?
let's do it. All right, here's a common one. Describe a time you had to balance competing demands as a DPO.
Oh.
What do you think?
Yeah, what's the interviewer really after there?
Right.
On the surface, it's about multitasking.
Yeah.
But I bet they want to see how you prioritize,
Oh, for sure.
communicate under pressure.
Exactly. Don't just list tasks. Give them a real-life example
Okay.
where you had to make tough choices.
Uh-huh.
So let's say a new product launch was looming,
Okay.
but you had to make sure all the data protection measures were in place.
Oh, right.
How did you juggle that? Who did you have to bring on board?
And what were the potential risks? How'd you mitigate them?
Yes.
Those details bring it to life.
Exactly.
Okay. The guide also flags that dreaded data breach question.
Oh, yeah, that one.
How do we even begin to handle that curveball?
So this one's all about showing you can stay calm and solve problems under fire.
Okay.
The key is outlining a clear process. So how you investigate, how you contain the damage, and most importantly,
Yes.
what you learned from it.
So even if I haven't personally, handled a massive breach,
Right.
I can walk them through the steps I would take.
Precisely. Having a framework shows you're prepared.
Okay.
Mention things like incident response plans,
Okay.
communication protocols, forensic analysis.
Uh-huh.
Those are keywords
Got it.
that demonstrate strategic thinking.
Okay, so now let's talk about staying ahead of the curve.
All right.
How do you stay up to date on data protection?
Love that.
This is where my inner lifelong learner comes out.
I love it.
I love to learn.
And that's the kind of enthusiasm interviewers love to see.
Okay.
So showcase your commitment to continuous learning.
All right.
Those certifications from the career guide, CIPP, CIPM,
Yeah,
those are gold.
absolutely. But don't stop there.
Right.
Maybe mention an industry event you're excited about.
Yeah.
Or a thought leader you follow.
Exactly. Paint a picture of someone who's actively engaged in this
Yeah.
ever-changing field.
It's always changing.
Right. You could even mention like a recent article
Uh-huh.
that got you thinking about the future of data protection.
Show them you're not just keeping up, but looking ahead.
Yes.
I'm realizing there's a strategy to answering these questions.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about knowing the facts.
You're spot on. It's about showcasing yourself
Yeah.
as the ideal candidate.
Okay.
Speaking of which, let's peek into the career guide's insights on the potential growth path for a DPO.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive.
So you might start by assisting senior DPOs, but with experience, you could be leading investigations,
Yeah,
shaping organizational policies, even training others.
exactly.
Wow, and think long term.
Yes.
Maybe you see yourself as a chief privacy officer someday.
There you go.
Now that's a career goal,
Right.
but let's be real.
Okay.
Landing that first DPO role is the priority right now.
Uh-huh.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in.
Absolutely. This is where technology meets strategy.
It does.
Okay.
It's like having a personalized coach,
Yeah.
helping you highlight the right experiences and skills to stand out.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI analyzes job descriptions, identifies crucial skills,
Oh, wow.
and helps tailor your resume and answers to perfectly match what employers are seeking.
Okay, so say I've found a DPO role I'm really excited about.
Right.
How does RoleCatcher actually help me tailor my responses for that specific job?
So imagine this. You upload the job description to RoleCatcher,
Okay.
and their AI engine goes to work,
Uh-huh.
dissecting the language, identifying keywords, and highlighting the skills and experience that that particular employer prioritizes.
So it's not just about generic DPO knowledge.
No.
It's about understanding the nuances of each individual role.
You got it.
Okay.
And the best part is RoleCatcher goes beyond just analysis.
Yeah.
It provides specific suggestions on how to tweak your resume and even your interview answers to align perfectly with that job's requirements.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for job descriptions.
Exactly. It's about speaking their language, highlighting the experiences that resonate most with them, and ultimately increasing your chances of getting that interview invitation.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Feels like we've covered so much ground already, but I know we have way more sample questions to dive into.
Oh, we've got plenty more.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and tackle the rest.
Sounds good. Let's keep this momentum going. We were just talking about RoleCatcher's AI
Yeah.
and how it can give you that personalized edge in your interview prep.
Right, it's like having a data-driven secret weapon.
Exactly.
But before we get too distracted by AI awesomeness,
Okay.
we were in the middle of tackling those tough interview questions.
Right. You're right. We need to keep practicing.
Let's do it.
Remember that data breach question from the interview guide?
Yeah.
Let's dive into that one head on.
Bring it on. I'm ready to show those interviewers I can handle a crisis.
That's the spirit. Now, remember, it's not about having all the answers,
Right?
but demonstrating a clear and structured approach.
Okay.
What are the initial steps you would take if you suspected a data breach?
Well, first I'd want to verify, if a breach actually occurred,
Okay.
then I'd work on containing the damage,
Uh-huh.
figure out what data was compromised,
Okay.
and who might be affected.
Excellent. Those are all crucial first steps. The career guide also highlights the importance of having an incident response plan in place.
Oh, right.
Have you had any experience with those?
To be honest, not directly.
Okay.
But I've been studying the NIST framework and GDPR guidelines extensively.
Great.
I want to make sure I'm familiar with those industry standards.
That's a great approach. Being familiar with those standards is key. You can definitely mention that in your answer.
Okay, good.
Now let's talk about communication. Who needs to be informed in case of a breach?
Well, definitely senior management and legal counsel right away.
Uh-huh.
And depending on the nature of the breach, maybe even law enforcement or regulatory bodies.
Okay.
And of course, notifying affected individuals would be like a top priority.
You're hitting all the right points. What's interesting here is that communication is often the most challenging aspect of a data breach.
Oh, wow.
You need to be transparent, accurate, and timely,
Yeah.
all while managing potential panic and reputational damage.
That sounds like a high-pressure situation.
It definitely can be, but by outlining a clear communication plan in your interview,
Okay.
you demonstrate a proactive and strategic mindset.
Got it.
You could even mention using tools like secure communication channels
Uh-huh.
or having pre-drafted templates to ensure consistency and speed.
Oh, okay. So we've contained the breach, notified everyone.
Right.
What happens next?
That's where the learning and improvement phase comes in.
Okay.
Conducting a thorough post-mortem analysis,
Mm-hmm.
identifying vulnerabilities, and implementing stronger safeguards are essential
Okay.
to preventing future incidents.
So it's not just about putting out the fire, but learning from the ashes.
Exactly, and showing that you're committed to continuous improvement is incredibly valuable.
Right.
To potential employers now, let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and tackle another question from the interview guide. This one is about implementing data protection policies.
All right.
What experience do you have implementing data protection policies and procedures?
Okay. This one feels more up my alley. I've always been a bit of a policy wonk.
Excellent. That's a great starting point.
Okay.
But remember, it's not enough to just like policies. You
Yeah.
need to demonstrate a deep understanding of how to create, implement, and enforce them effectively.
So instead of just listing policies I've written, I should focus on the process.
Exactly. Think about the steps involved.
Okay.
Conducting a needs assessment, identifying risks, drafting the policy,
Uh-huh.
getting stakeholder buy-in training staff,
Yeah.
and establishing monitoring mechanisms. Which of these steps have you been involved in?
Well, in my previous role, I helped develop a new data retention policy.
Okay.
We had to analyze legal requirements, assess our data storage practices, and create a clear schedule for data disposal.
That's a fantastic example. You can go even further by explaining the challenges you faced
Okay.
and how you overcame them. Was it difficult to get buy-in from certain departments?
Yeah.
Did you have to adapt the policy based on feedback?
Actually, yes.
Mhm.
The IT department initially pushed back
Uh,
on some of the data deletion timelines, but we were able to find a compromise that met both security and operational needs.
Perfect. That
You know-
shows you can navigate complex situations and find solutions that work for everyone.
Okay.
It also demonstrates strong communication and collaboration skills,
Right.
which are highly sought after in a DPO.
Yeah. This is really helping me frame my experiences in a way that highlights the skills employers are looking for.
Exactly.
It's almost like RoleCatcher's doing that too, but with my resume.
That's a great point. Remember we were talking about how RoleCatcher's AI analyzes job descriptions
Yeah.
and identifies those crucial keywords? Well, it can actually suggest ways to tweak your resume
Yes.
to make sure you're speaking the employer's language.
Yeah. So it's not just about listing my skills and experience, but about presenting them
Right.
in a way that aligns with what they're looking for.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh,
Okay, back to those interview questions.
Let's move on to a question that can sometimes trip people up.
Right.
Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding data protection?
Ooh, that one sounds tricky. I imagine there are a lot of gray areas in data protection.
You're absolutely right. This question is designed to assess your judgment, ethical decision-making,
Okay.
and ability to weigh competing priorities. Do you have a situation in mind where you faced a dilemma?
Well, there was this one instance where a marketing team wanted to launch a new campaign that involved collecting user data
Okay.
through a third-party app.
Right.
And I had concerns about the app's privacy practices
Ah,
and whether they aligned with our company's policies.
that's a great example.
Yeah.
How did you approach the situation?
First, I researched the app thoroughly and documented my concerns.
Yeah.
Then I met with the marketing team to discuss the potential risks and explore alternative solutions.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough conversation because they were really excited about the campaign,
Yeah.
but ultimately they understood the importance of data protection.
That's fantastic. You demonstrated a balanced approach,
Okay.
considering both business objectives and ethical considerations. Did you reach a resolution?
Yes. We were able to find a different app that met both our data protection standards and the marketing team's needs. It was a win-win.
That's an excellent outcome. And by sharing this story, you've showcased your ability to navigate difficult conversations, find compromises, and uphold ethical standards.
Great.
These are all qualities that would impress any interviewer.
Okay. I'm feeling more confident about tackling those tricky scenario questions.
Good.
It's all about showcasing those problem-solving skills.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher can help you fine-tune those answers to really hit the mark.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have plenty more questions to practice.
You're right. Let's keep going. What's the next question on our list?
All right, let's jump back into those interview questions. The career guide mentions a question about training and awareness,
Okay.
specifically how you'd ensure staff members are trained on data protection policies and procedures.
Oh, this is where my passion for education comes in. I love designing engaging and informative training programs.
That's fantastic. But remember, training isn't just about delivering information.
Right.
It's about changing behavior and fostering a culture of data protection within the organization.
So it's not just about PowerPoint presentations and quizzes,
No.
but about creating a culture where everyone understands the importance of data protection.
Exactly. Think about interactive workshops, real-life scenarios,
Uh-huh.
and even gamified learning experiences.
Yeah.
The career guide also suggests tailoring training to different departments and roles.
Okay.
A marketer might need different information than a software developer, for example.
That makes sense. A one-size-fits-all approach probably wouldn't be very effective.
Yeah.
What about measuring the effectiveness of those training programs?
Great question. Imagine the interviewer asks, how would you measure the effectiveness of your training programs? What would you say?
Well, I definitely want to track things like completion rates and quiz scores,
Okay.
but I think it goes beyond that. I'd want to assess whether the training actually led to a change in behavior, maybe through surveys, feedback forms,
Yeah.
or even observing how people handle data in their day-to-day work.
Those are all excellent metrics. It shows you're thinking beyond just ticking boxes and truly focused on making a difference. You could even mention using real-world simulations or mock data breach exercises to assess how well employees apply their knowledge in a practical setting.
Wow, that's a great idea. It would definitely make the training more engaging and memorable.
Oh,
It also ties back to the importance of continuous improvement, which we talked about earlier in the context of data breaches.
you're absolutely right. Connecting those dots shows a holistic understanding of the DPO role. Okay, time for the question that often pops up at the end of an interview. What are your salary expectations?
Oh, that one always makes me a little nervous. How do I find that sweet spot between knowing my worth and not pricing myself out of the running?
It's a common concern, but don't worry. The key is to do your research, and believe it or not, RoleCatcher can actually be helpful here too.
Really? I thought it was mainly for resume and interview prep.
It goes beyond that.
Yeah.
You can use RoleCatcher to research salary ranges for DPO positions in your location, industry, and experience level.
That's incredible. So I can go into the interview with a realistic and informed salary expectation.
Yes.
No more guessing game.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of the equation and empowers you to negotiate confidently. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, but let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI one last time.
Okay.
We've talked about how it analyzes job descriptions and provides tailored suggestions for your resume and interview answers. But there's one more piece to the puzzle: feedback.
Oh, feedback. Tell me more.
Well, imagine this. You've crafted your perfect response to that tricky interview question,
Uh-huh.
but you're not sure if it hits the mark.
Right.
You can actually run it through RoleCatcher's AI,
Okay.
and it'll give you feedback on how well it aligns with the specific job requirements.
It's like having a personal interview coach in my pocket. Does it give suggestions for improvement?
Absolutely. It might suggest adding specific keywords, highlighting certain experiences, or even adjusting the tone to better resonate with the employer.
Wow, this AI is like the ultimate interview prep tool. I'm feeling so much more confident and prepared after this deep dive. Thanks to the RoleCatcher resources and your expert insights, I'm ready to tackle those interview questions and showcase my passion for data protection.
That's fantastic to hear. And one final thought to ponder as you continue your preparation. The source material emphasizes the increasing use of AI and machine learning. How do you see this impacting the role of a DPO in the future?
That's a great question to reflect on. It's clear that data protection is more crucial than ever, especially in this rapidly evolving technological landscape. Thanks for all the great advice. I'm ready to go ace that interview